Megan and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is actually going to be the first training series video. So this is going to be a new series on my channel. Like I mentioned in my last video, I wanted to do more educational videos. So this is going to be the first one. So for today's video, for the first one, I'm going to talk about the clicker and how to use this tool and how to train your horse with the clicker. So if you're interested, please keep on watching and give me a thumbs up at the end if this helped you in any way or if you just like this video. So I've noticed that in the equine world, it is not that popular yet in comparison to like the dog world, whatever. When you're training a dog, you use this all the time. It's getting there in the equine world, but it's not there yet. And honestly, I don't know why, because it's an amazing tool. So what it looks like, it's like this. And then that's the back. You can get this anywhere at your local pet store. You can go on Walmart, you can go on Amazon. There's all different kinds of clickers. You don't need to buy this specific one. Like I've mentioned, it's really popular in the dog world, so that's why I have a dog paw. So how it works is that there are two types of sounds. So if you go up, it's a louder sound, and if you go down, it's a quieter sound. So this is the quieter sound. This is the louder. So as you can see, there's a big difference, and I always use the louder just because I found that it works best, but honestly you can use whatever sound you want. And this is where you press and then the sound goes on. So how to use it is, for example, you want your horse to put his bridle himself, and you start with the halter. You want your horse to touch the halter with his nose. Then, at the first time you're going to introduce the halter, he's not going to go and put him himself. He's going to go and smell everywhere and look everywhere, and then eventually, maybe 2, 5, 10 minutes later, he's going to touch the halter with his nose. And by the second that he touches his nose, the halter with his nose, you need to click and then give him a treat. And this is why I like using clickers, because they are so precise, and precision with horses, with any kind of animals, is everything. So you don't, for example, if you're only using treats, you don't need to really being like almost stressed out, because when the horse is going to touch the halter, you need to reach out for some treats and then give him the treats super fast, because you don't want him to forget why you're giving him treats. With that, you only need to click. And sometimes people, they don't buy a halter and they just use the sound of their voice to kind of imitate the sound of the clicker. But, for only $10, you're going to be worth your money. It's not really expensive, and you can use it for any kind of trainings. Also, sometimes people only use their voice, but, you need to have the same intonation every time. So if, for example, your cue is to say, "Good girl," then you need to have the exact same "good girl" every time, which is practically impossible. But with a clicker, it's always the exact same sound. Never varies. It's always the same sound. So that is awesome. That is why I really like it. And like I said, you can use it for any training. So if you're doing trick training, for example, if you want your horse to lay down, if you want your horse to give you kisses, to smile, to rear up, whatever you want, you can use a clicker. But also for your everyday life. So for example, if you want your horse to stay in a place while you feed him, then you can use a clicker to train him. If you want your horse to I don't know, walk by your side, you can use a clicker to train him. If you want your horse to canter slower, you can use a clicker to train him. Everything you can train the clicker with. And it's exactly like your dog. Your horse is like your dog. So you can teach your horse to sit down, you can teach your horse to lay down, you can teach your horse to give you his hoof, you can teach your horse everything. And that's the beauty of that, because it's really small, it's super practical, it's super easy to have with you, and it is precise. And I'm not going to mention that enough, but precision and is everything with horses and with every kind of animal that you are ever going to train. So yeah, this is kind of how it works. Because if you're not following me on Instagram, you definitely should. But if you're not following me on Instagram or on Facebook, you won't notice that. But if you are, you would have noticed that I started posting very more details caption on my pictures and explaining a little bit of my point of view with horses, and saying that we don't need horses, we want horses. We're not in that time where horses were used for agriculture, or the time where horses were our cars. We're not in that time anymore. So it is really a want. So making sure that training a horse is fun for them and is amusing, and that they really understand what you're asking him to do, is really more fun, and your bond is really going to be stronger than ever by doing this way than by doing this in the negative way. So for example, if you want a horse to go slower, then you're going to pull the bit out until he goes slower and then release the pressure. But with using that, there's no punishment, there's no negative mindset. You just ask your horse to canter, and by the minute that he does one step slower, you click, you stop, and then give him a treat. So I just find that it is a really nicer way to train your horse, and it's really efficient. So I really like doing the clicker training. So now I'm going to stop rambling over, because I feel like this video is going to go on forever. But I could talk about it for hours. So if you ever want some more specification about my kind of trainings, I can definitely do a whole video about that. But now I'm going to show you some footage of how I use the clicker training, how I train my horses with clicker training, just to show you more in action how it works. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, because it really supports me and my channel. And let's go and see the footage. Alright, so I just got to the barn, and I'm going to show you the exercise that I referred to while explaining to you what was the clicker training in the first place. So I'm going to show you every step that I followed to show Molly how to put her bridle herself. I'm not going to start with the halter, I'm going to start with the bridle herself. So yeah, I'm going to go and get Molly inside, brush her a little bit, and then I'm going to show you that exercise. Alright, so I forgot my clicker, but like I mentioned, you could also use it of your mouth. So what I'm going to ask her first is to, well, obviously she already knows that, but if you want to teach your horse to do this, is that you're going to ask your horse to just put its head in the bridle. See, by the minute that she puts her head, I'm clucking, and then I give her a treat. Molly. There you go. Obviously, she already knows that. She already knows what I'm asking her. But when your horse is going to get used to that, you can go and ask to touch the bit itself. And it's going to take longer for you to, for your horse to know exactly what you want him to touch. So you're just going to wait until his nose or his mouth or whatever touches what you want him to touch, and then you clock or you click with the clicker and you give him a treat. And then he's going to, it's going to make sense to him what you're asking him to touch. Then I'm going to ask her to put the bit in her mouth. Okay, so I'm going to wait until she puts the bit in her mouth to clock and then to give her a treat. She tried, so I'm going to give her a treat. you see that here, I waited a little bit because she knows what I want. So even if she tries to put it in her mouth, this is not what I asked her, and she knows it. If she wouldn't know it, I would clock and give her a treat a couple of times. But since she already knows what I'm asking her, I'm going to wait until she puts it in her mouth completely. There we go. And that is basically what clicker training is to ask something to your horse, and by the minute that he responds, you click and then you give him a treat. You know, you can teach everything your horse with that, to your horse with that. You can teach, you know, to bow. You can teach your horse to smile. You can teach your horse to lay down. You can even teach your horse like to ride properly, or you know, simple tricks like putting her bridle herself or things like that. You can teach everything, and this is a great tool. So I hope that it helped you maybe to see how to use a clicker training. I know that it was a short video, and but as I mentioned before, I'm going to do more training sessions with you guys. So obviously it's going to include the clicker because I use this in my everyday lifestyle with horses. So you're going to be able to see a little bit more of how I use my clicker and what I teach my horse with the clicker. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that it helped you in many ways. And if it did, please give it a thumbs up because it really supports me and my channel and Molly as well. And I will see you guys in another video. Bye.